This is PorchYeller, Episode 1. I'm Greg Herman. In the 11th chapter of the book of Hebrews, the author lists what many refer to as the Hall of Faith, men like Abel, Enoch, Noah, and Moses, believers like Sarah, Jacob, and Rahab, warriors like Joshua, Gideon, Samson, and David, people who were longing for a better country, who were compelled by their faith to take meaningful action, who many times pay for that action with their lives, men of whom this world is not worthy. Fast forward to February 4th, 1906, in modern-day Wrocław, Poland, where a baby boy was born to Karl, a psychiatrist, and Paula, a teacher. The boy was brilliant, mastering anything to which he set his mind. So it shocked friends and family who thought he might go into law or medicine when he, at the age of 14, decided to study, of all things, theology. And his theology consumed him, compelling him to speak out wherever he saw injustice or anything contrary to the gospel of Jesus Christ, often ruffling feathers of established church leaders. His theology drove him to speak out against the racial segregation of American churches, pointing out that racial divisions violated the gospel's call to a unified body of Christ. His theology drove his outspoken defense of Jews, ruffling feathers among church leaders who acquiesced to Nazi policies. His theology to obedience to Christ compelled him to challenge state oppression, often clashing with church leaders who advocated neutrality. His theology of costly grace demanded that the church actively resist injustice, leading to conflicts with leaders who prioritized institutional stability. He preached, when the state becomes the bearer of injustice, the Christian must resist. And the church has failed to proclaim the truth when it stood by while the blood of the innocent cried to heaven. He once wrote, "Cheap grace is the deadly enemy of our church. We are fighting today for costly grace." And about the church's response to Hitler, he wrote, "Silence in the face of evil is evil itself. God will not hold us guiltless. Not to speak is to speak. Not to act is to act." But perhaps more important than his public writing and speaking was Dietrich Bonhoeffer's commitment to reaching out to young people. He led discussions on the Sermon on the Mount, inspiring students to resist Nazi anti-Semitism. He offered personal guidance to young seminarians facing pressure to conform to Nazi-aligned churches, reinforcing their commitment to biblical principles. In a 1936 letter to a young pastor, he wrote, "The church needs men who will bear the cross of Christ in this hour of trial," urging resistance to Nazi ideology. His approach was hands-on, using stories and discussions to instill moral courage. What led to his passion for reaching young people? He once said, "We must shake people up so that they realize that this is a matter of life and death, not just a matter of theological discussion." A matter of life and death. On April 9th, 1945, Dietrich Bonhoeffer was hanged by the Nazis. They could not defeat his message, so they had to silence the man. One Nazi eyewitness recounted Bonhoeffer's last moments. "I was deeply moved by the way this extraordinarily likable man prayed, so devout and certain that God heard his prayer." On October 14, 1993, a baby boy was born in the Chicago suburbs of Arlington Heights to his father, an architect, and his mother, a mental health counselor. The boy was brilliant, mastering anything to which he set his mind, and his theology consumed him, compelling him to speak out wherever he saw injustice or anything contrary to the gospel of Jesus Christ, often ruffling feathers of established church and political veterans. His theology compelled him to speak out against the senseless slaughter of millions of unborn children, saying, "There is no such thing as a moral abortion. Every abortion is wrong. And we are going to get rid of abortion like we got rid of slavery in this country. It's going to happen." His theology compelled him to speak out against butchering and poisoning confused young people in the name of affirming care, saying, "My prayer for people who believe they're trans is that they stop waging war on their body and instead learn to love the body God gave them." And it's time for a counter-revolution in medicine. Doctors who enable these atrocities should lose their licenses and be sued into oblivion. His theology compelled him to speak out against the mindless immigration policies that put his countrymen at risk. Biden's immigration policies are letting murderers, rapists, and MS-13 gang members and literal terrorists enter our country through the open southern border. More than any of this, like Bonhoeffer decades before, his theology compelled him to reach out to young people in an effort to win hearts and minds through teaching and dialogue, saying, "My message to young men, if the most important thing for you is just feeling good, you're going to end up miserable. But if the most important thing is doing good, you will end up purposeful, and purpose leads to joy. And, young women, if you want to raise faithful children, then marry a godly man. On September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk was faithfully manning his post, working out his faith before thousands of college students, reaching out to others, changing hearts and minds, when a coward snatched his life from 200 yards away, and we were all witnesses. They could not defeat his message, so they had to silence the man. Not long before his assassination, Charlie was asked how he wanted to be remembered. "I want to be remembered for the courage of my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith." Two men, longing for a better country, compelled by their faith to take meaningful action, and paid for that action with their lives. Two men of whom this world is not worthy. May we walk worthy of their example, and may their example be our guide. That's today's lesson. For more lessons like this, click here, and be sure to like and share this lesson with others. Then, get off my lawn.